Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for having me. My name is Tyler Weiss. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives here at the Center for Entertainment Arts in Vancouver, Canada. The Center for Entertainment Arts is a school in Vancouver, also coming into to Calgary, Alberta in January 2022. We're offering advanced diplomas in 3D animation, visual effects, and advanced game development. Today, sorry, we don't have much time, but today we're going to talk to three inspiring students, previous students. They've recently graduated, and talk a little bit about their path and how they've transformed their lives and previous professions into a different career, which is visual effects. As well as working at the Center for Entertainment Arts, I'm also a working visual effects producer. I was a visual effects producer on the Game of Thrones season 6, 7, and 8. Man in the High Castle, a bunch of different television shows and movies, and currently some movies and television shows that I can't talk about, but maybe in the future tune into CEA to hear about that. Let's get into it. Our first student, Alexei, is from Brazil. And a little bit of a backstory with Alexei and the students in general. We started the school started 2 years ago, so this is our first graduates coming out of the program. And initially we thought, it would be cool, teach exactly how it works in the studios, in the visual effects studios. And wouldn't it be cool if we could start to place some of these students into to a work initiative program? And the very first student in that was Alexei, working on the television show that he's got that t-shirt on right now. Alexei, why don't we start with you? Again, you always were interested in video games and movies and things like that, how they were made, but you didn't originally go into that. You studied what?
Yeah, I was a lawyer for 5 years before I even came to Canada, before I completely switched over. Visual effects, I was always into movies and games, but visual effects and this whole industry was not really an option back home. So I never really thought about it. The only thing I could really think about was going into something that I would make money one day, So the first thing I defaulted to was law because I was pretty good at it, not incredibly good, but pretty good at it. So yeah, I did that for 5 years, but then I saw that was not for me at all. So I came into Canada and started VFX and fell in love with it. And I wished I had done it for 10 years before that,
So that must have been an interesting conversation with your parents saying, hey, I think I might stop being a lawyer, move to Canada and get into visual effects. Were they all
Oh,
right with that?
yeah, they were not super happy about it, of course, especially since they helped me pay for my first college back home, and they helped me pay for this school right now as well. But in the end, when they saw the end result, they were extremely happy because they saw that I was living in a country that I really loved, and I was extremely happy doing what I was doing. And they saw that I wasn't happy back in Brazil being a lawyer, so they were very very happy once they saw that I was happy doing what I wanted to do. So in the end, it paid off. But yeah, the very first conversation was kind of awkward, but yeah, it came along a long way since then.
And for the potential students watching, I mean, as you know, and especially when you're a young person coming in, to choose a school or things like that, is it nerve-wracking going into a different career? Obviously, you don't know how it's going to turn out. You have no idea, but you're essentially dropping your life as you know it and taking a risk. How did you talk yourself into that, or did you have to?
Well, yeah, that is hard, but that is the one advice that I would give is if you aren't happy doing what you are doing right now, and you want to make a switch, make that switch, because there's always going to be people who are going to doubt you. They're going to be there saying no, you can't do this. You've been doing this for a long time. You shouldn't start over right now. No, just believe in yourself and go for it. Because that's what actually happened with me. There were a lot of people who were doubting it and creating these invisible obstacles in front of me. But in the end, I was no, I have to do this because I know I'm going somewhere one day, and it's not where I am right now. So I need to make this jump so that I can get there one day, And that's exactly what I did, and I couldn't be happier about it. Nowadays, I wouldn't have done it any other way for sure.
Yes. Well, Another similar story, but different. If we talk to Sydney Yang, just a recent graduate, working at Scanline Studios now, one of the biggest studios in the world, working on some of the some of the biggest projects in the world, blockbuster films and such. Originally from China, Sydney. Now, let me get this straight. You received a full scholarship from the government of Singapore, and you earned your degree in biological science and went on to become a neuroscience researcher. And now you've switched your career completely and into visual effects. From law with Alexei into visual effects, and then from neuroscience researcher into visual effects. Why don't we talk about that? Neuroscience researching wasn't for you.
It wasn't for me. I mean, I liked the job, but I didn't like it with a burning passion. I worked for a professor who has like a burning passion for neuroscience. He literally doesn't take break from Monday to Sunday. He can keep working like 12 hours a day and just keep going. So one day I asked him, like, how could you keep doing this? Like, I wouldn't be able to keep up. He says, I simply just like it. And then at that time, I think to myself, maybe I don't like it as much as he does for neuroscience, but I do have something that I like very much, which was film and games growing up. But where I was from, I was expected to get good grades and find a real job. So that wasn't really an option for me at that time. But then I feel like, looking at someone who's that passionate, I feel like I should find that something within me as well. That's why I came to Canada and I found rigging. Before I came to Canada, I don't even know what a rigger is, but now I'm working as a full-time rigger at Scanline VFX.
Yes, you are. And for everyone watching, it's very difficult to get into that department. It's a very technical department. I'll ask, I was gonna have a question for you, Sydney, but I think I'm gonna ask it later. Let's chat quickly with Kent. Now, this is I suppose this is a good career shift, but you are originally from Shanghai, but you did actually work in television for 17 years before coming to the Center for Entertainment Arts. So it is a departure, but not quite a huge departure, I suppose. You're still relatively in the same industry. Was it difficult to, and I imagine after 17 years, you had quite an established career in television. Was it difficult to make that switch? And to add to the question, because we don't have much time, did you have a passion for the visual effects watching the movies? Did you want to become more on the art side rather than what you were doing? Was that part of the reason?
Yeah, it was such a good question. So basically, actually, for the past 17 years, I focused on to doing some kind of a TV program. So yeah, it was like a live news broadcasting, entertainment shows, reality shows. But I never stopped to be a super movie fan. I watched over 3,500 movies. Those DVDs are still in my home. So I don't know, I think, I don't know all the others, but for me, the TV guy got a movie dream. So once I got a chance to came to Canada to check around that, I know Vancouver is the one of the biggest base for the Hollywood. Now I just made a decision. I have to be there. So I looks young, but I'm not that young. I'm close to the mid age. So if you always keep everything in your mind, never do that, you might gotta miss the chance for your whole life. So it's not another. So just come in. So VFX side is it's a TV side. It's close to the movie industry, but the VFX, it's inside the industry. It is so exciting, especially what kind of a work we are doing right now in the studio. Also proud of that I could be a part of movie. And the exciting thing is I'm really doing something what I love. So this is so great. So like have a fantastic TV position in back to China compared to join your dream work in Vancouver. I think it is the easy choice to make, right?
And this is kind of an open question for everyone. Each one of you had disciplines before you came to the CEA that were difficult. Like to graduate from law school is difficult. You have to, work yourself in a mindset And I don't know, Sydney, but I'm guessing neuroscience isn't exactly a walk in the park either. And from my own experience, I know working in the television industry is also very stressful, have to be very organized. You have to know exactly what's going on. Do you think, now I want to say to everyone watching too, these students are some of our most successful. I feel like, part of the message here and the advice is from me, from new students, is that what I've noticed in each one of these people is that they went way above what even was expected to them at the school. And people recognize that. And obviously it shows up in the work, and obviously shows up where they're placed now at the studios that you're in. Alexei is working with some of the finest artists in the entire world, as Sydney and Kent are. So do you think that working in your previous professions helped in any kind of way for you to succeed? Or did your mentality thinking, I'm switching careers and I'm going to make this work no matter what, was that also part of it? Anyone want to take that?
Yeah, I can talk briefly about it, just like very quickly. I think the second thing that you said is more true for me. I think like my desire to succeed here was one that I sort of like felt in my mind, like, okay, this is my last chance, like I have to make it now. I have to like give it my all. And also because I got here and I saw like all these very young people who were like extremely good at drawing and arts and everything, and I like felt like a little bit intimidated as well. So I was like, okay, no, I have to put my A game on. And then like after a while, like learning the software and everything, I could like run circles around them because I just like dedicated myself like so much to it, that it really helped. It was more like a fear of like having to go back to law. I think that's what motivated me. Like it motivated me in the sense like I don't want to go back to doing that ever again. I want to do this like from now on.
Yes. Sydney, what do you think?
I have a little bit of a different opinion. I would actually feel that my education in science actually helps me of doing what I'm doing now in the VFX industry. So whatever you learn, like for everybody who's thinking of switching career, you have to remember that nothing you learned before goes to waste. So whatever you learned before will help you when you go into the new field. For me, the critical thinking and the coding skills that I got for my science research work actually helped me a lot when I applied for the rigging job at the studio. They specifically asked that they would prefer someone with a science background because they think the people with science background could think the problem critically and find a solution. I didn't use any of the specific skills or knowledge that I applied in neuroscience, but the way that I think and the way of learning that I learned by doing neuroscience actually helped me a lot with transitioning career. So I would say it's not that scary at all. You don't ever start from scratch, and everything you learn is still with you going forward.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. Kent, I'd imagine you have a different view of it as well.
So actually, I think there's a CEA helped me a lot. So for me, CEA is not a college. It's just a platform. We got those fantastic instructors just helping you to reach your goal, to helping you to finish your dream. That's the thing. So the most, some students, they think we're just having some kind of a normal college, just doing the assignment, dealing with those girls, then graduate, find some job. Yeah. But the CEA is different. Like it just like allow you to have your dream. So push the limitation. So what kind of things you need, what kind of a level you want to reach out. So go as hard as you can. Then you got a lot of support from different angles. So that's so great. That make a great help, a great boost to help you into the industry. So that's the thing, just shocked me a lot. So back to my country, I think the university works at a totally different. So I can tell there's a big difference. So CEA done a great job.
Excellent. Now we have 5 minutes left, essentially 6 minutes left in this webinar. What do we think about telling some prospective students coming in, just in general to any school that they choose, but the CEA is obviously an advanced program. So, and you three, took it took it as far as it could possibly go on your own, as well as as well as your studies. What advice would you give any students that are thinking of either coming to a school like CEA or any school to succeed, I suppose?
I can say something to build upon what Kent was saying. I think that kind of mentality is like particularly important coming into VFX. If you just come in and you just want to like do assignments and get it done and get a diploma and go away, that's not going to bring out the best of you. You really have to like push yourself and like do things beyond your assignment. Like you have to, the assignment asks you one thing, do that one thing and something more, not something else, but something more. Always like do your own projects on top of that as well, because I think that's the only way that you're really going to push yourself. And that's what I really liked about the CA, because it provided me like this environment where I could really grow. Like they would always challenge me more and more. Whenever I asked them to challenge me more, like if I said like this assignment is too easy for me, can you give me something else? They would give me something else. Like it really challenged me, and I appreciate that a lot, because that made me like that much better at GFX.
And with the work initiative programs, all of you took advantage of the work initiative program, and I want to say about the program too. It's not like we gave you this opportunity. It was sort of I presented these to you, and you made it happen. Not many schools do this work initiative program. Does it feel like? It feels like to me, watching you go through it, it feels like you were getting another degree at the same time when you entered the workforce. In a certain sense, you were starting to learn different things, and obviously every studio does things differently. Every person that maybe you're under does things differently. And you think, was that a lot of pressure, or do you think that really started to push you further in your careers as well?
For me, I really appreciate the work initiative program. So I went in at the beginning of my 5th term of 6 terms in total into Skyline. And after I entered, I immediately realized that there's much more that I need to do. Like rigging in an actual studio is not the same as you rig as a student. I guess it's the same for other departments as well. So once you get that perspective, you know which direction you need to push much harder. And then you know how to adjust your time at school so that you can better support your future career. So I think getting that early exposure is very crucial for students. Even if it's like only 20 hours a week, that 20 hours of a week can help you plan the rest of the 40 hours of your week studying at school so that you know exactly what you need to improve on.
Yeah, Alexei, I mean, I've seen you grow incredibly, I think. Even hearing from people that I've worked with in the past, Alexei is working with a gentleman that I worked with on Game of Thrones for multiple years, and he's, giving me updates on Alexei's skill level. You're right up there with the big dogs, I suppose they say. That must feel strange. I mean, it must feel strange. You're fully working now in the career, like no joke.
And curiously enough, they call the comp team on our at the studio the alpha dogs. but yeah, like it's amazing. Like working with Keegan. Keegan is my supervisor. He's amazing, and like having all this experience like in the work initiative is like really great, because there are some things that you can only really learn when you're out there doing the job. Because when you're doing assignments, you're doing like inside these controlled parameters. But when you're like out there in the wild and you're faced with like these client notes and stuff like that, like that you have to address, it's a whole nother level. And plus, like working under someone like Keegan was like spectacular for me. Like I learned so much. I feel like I've learned like more with him like in a couple of hours than I have like in a year sometimes, like with some of the stuff that he shows me every now and then. It's like amazing. He takes the time to like really like walk me through stuff. It's amazing.
Well, we've got 1 minute remaining. Thanks for joining us today. Is there anything else that we can quickly tell the students? Again, we're with the CEA Advanced Diploma Programs for Visual Effects, 3D Animation, Game Design. Here's our students here, graduated, our first crop. Amazing. Each of the students now before you are sort of standing on your shoulders now. The opportunities that you've provided with your hard work at that school have now allowed others to do that as well. And once all the studios took a chance on you, now they're taking a chance on others. So thanks very much for that. I know I don't see you that often, but I'm sure we'll be working together. I'm actually sure of it. Hopefully I can retire in at least 10 years and you can take over. Anything else closing? I think
I just want to
I
say,
don't,
I really hope to work with you too, Tyler, one day.
I'm sure you will. We got 2 CEA students now at the studio, so it's interesting. Can't believe it. I can't believe it. I remember talking to you guys at the start, and there it is. It's happened. It's actually happened, and thank goodness, because I said a lot of stuff back then, and you guys did it. So everybody's proud of you. And for this festival, thanks for having us. And I guess I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully we can do it again on a little webinar.